Welcome to the Grog Bowl, everybody. Back finally. I am Jason.
I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
All right, Nick. The floor is yours. You said you had a rant.
Fucking A. Here it is. I have something to say about.
Holes.
Shut up. I have something to talk about, and it's been irritating me. And the more I think about my mother, I just want to freaking bitch slap her and freaking just put her in a nursing home. Anyway.
Okay.
Here it is. Tampon Tim Waltz. Is it Waltz? Waltz? Is he fucking dancing? I don't get it. Anyway, that motherfucker lying about his service has fucking infuriated me since he was picked. I don't think they vetted that motherfucker. I just need 5 or 10 minutes, fellas, so stick with me, all right? Here's the deal. You want to lie about your rank and say you were a command sergeant major. Kyle knows all about that shit. I don't know Army rank, all right? I was smart. I joined another branch. Anyway, he knows what it takes to probably get through that school. He knows what it takes to actually be told to hold that rank and call yourself a command sergeant major, right?
In your NCO academy.
Yes. And 2 years, it's like a 2-year fucking thing from what everyone is saying, right? You have to complete a whole bunch of courses in like 2 years, and then you can, have that rank. Anyway.
It's probably like course 15, course 14, course 15. Because command sergeant major is like a chief, right?
I think so, right, Kyle?
I don't know Air Force.
It's ranks. Like one of the last. It's like
it's
yeah,
E9.
but it's like one.
Yeah, it's the high. Yeah, it's the highest enlisted rank in the Army. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway,
sergeant. It's sergeant major, right? Just a sergeant major.
Command sergeant major.
So, yeah, but that'd be like a command chief.
So no, it's sergeant major, and then it's command sergeant major of the Army, and that is the highest enlisted rank. But that's like there's only one, and he sits in the Pentagon all day.
Right.
So yeah, but there's a command sergeant major for each, like Fort Leonard Wood has a command sergeant major because it's
they're just
each base.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like the command chief for each base for us.
Yeah, that's what I've always. That's what I've been equating it to, right? So anyway, so this.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So no, there's command sergeant major, and that's what Jay said, and then there's command sergeant major of the Army. Do we know what he was? Do we know what he was claiming to be?
Tim Waltz was claiming to be a command sergeant major.
Okay, so that's
for the National Guard. So he was claiming to be a command sergeant major for his National Guard
unit,
or I don't know what wing level.
So it's E10.
Right. I don't know what they call that in a battalion.
Yeah, well, it would be it would probably be a battalion or a company or something like that.
Yeah, because we call it a wing.
It's like
the wing.
There's a bunch of companies within the battalion, and then you got platoons within the company, and I imagine it would be the same thing. So that's an E10 in the Army. Is a sergeant major is E10, and then within E10 there's 3 different types. There's sergeant major, command sergeant major, and command sergeant major of the Army, but they all get paid the same. They just hold different responsibilities.
But
all right,
but basically, from my understanding of it, he failed to complete all the requisites or the requirements for the command sergeant major position, and pretty much had orders to go to Iraq and fucking said, I'm retiring.
You want to fucking take my rant?
All right. You can still rant. I'm just trying to explain the situation.
I've been working this up. Let me get it out. All right, here we go. Story time.
He is from Minnesota.
He's a fucking dickhead. Anyway, so one, you ran for political office, lying about your rank. One, that would piss me off if I was if I had known about it back then as a veteran. I'd be like, dude, no one always has the most exciting military career. Fucking own it. You own your military career. If you do 4, 8, 10, 15, 20 years, 24 years, it doesn't matter. You fucking did more than 3% or 97% of the population out there. Anyway, what really fucking grinds my gears is this motherfucker claimed to carry weapons of war in war. Italy is not fucking war. It is not a combat zone since 1944. So what fucking combat zone? So for him to claim that he served in war, stop it. I take this very personal. It is not a fucking war zone. All right.
Kosovo, just saying.
Is Italy in fucking Kosovo?
No, but they launched missions out of Kosovo. Kosovo.
It doesn't matter. It's not a fucking combat zone.
Just saying. I got a ribbon.
He's not walking around. You're not walking around Alviano Air Base or wherever the fuck he was carrying a fucking M16 unless he's a fucking MP. All right. He was a fucking pencil pusher at best. Anyway, so he sends his fucking unit to Iraq. For those of us that actually served and actually went to Iraq, and for those that fucking paid the ultimate price in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then all the other missions that can't really be discussed right now, i.e. Libya and everything else, that is a big fucking insult to the veteran community. And for you to sit there and still run on it and then just say, sorry guys, I misspoke. You fucking misspoke for 15 fucking years?
Yeah, that is bullshit.
So therefore, I wish that Stolen Valor was a fucking prison sentence. That motherfucker should be fucking sitting in a jail cell right now for at least 5 years thinking about what the fuck he did. I hope, and here's the deal. What the fuck? One, we know he's not masculine because he puts tampons in fucking boys' restrooms in fucking schools and shit. Who the fuck, what kind of masculine man can walk on stage and do a fucking double hand wave like fucking Rip, fucking the comedian Rip guy? What the fuck was his name back in the day? Rip Van Winkle or whatever the fuck? Is that Vanilla Ice? Anyway, if you're a dude and you're doing double hand waves, tuck your fucking dick, go stand in a fucking drag queen fucking show, and join that fucking community.
I heard, and one of the reasons they're letting Kamala Harris avoid like press conferences, she likes the sauce, so she's drinking a lot.
I see it. I see it.
I see it too. Like some of the things. Some of the.
Who the fuck cares? At least
I would love to see her on the stage.
Before we continue and get off Nick's rant here, as per ABC News, Walls has fiercely defended his service, saying at a campaign rally this week that he is damn proud of his military record. These guys have...
I'm not discrediting it.
No one is discrediting.
Military.
So, yeah. It goes in. These guys have and are even attacking me for my record of service, Wall said on Tuesday during a speech in Los Angeles. Break. Why are they campaigning in California, a state in which they know they will win? Makes zero sense.
Because they know they're probably going to lose, so they're coming up with excuses about why they're going to lose.
All right.
One, no one is discrediting his service. Good job. You did 24 years, even if it was in the Air fucking Guard. You did a great work. Or the Army National Guard, whatever the fuck it was.
Game on.
Our brother went to a Trump rally today.
It was Saturday. It was yesterday.
Oh, it was Saturday.
Yeah. So, while there is no evidence that Walls has committed the crime of stolen valor, an ABC News review of hours of footage from his past interviews and speeches, along with years of records of his initial campaign, show that journalists, some of his colleagues in the National Guard, and even voters have sometimes been left with an inaccurate picture of his military service that has led to criticism dating back years. Now, I will say, being in the National Guard, that is an even harder feat to become that rank. So if he is just because your roles are limited and the amount of people you have under your command is very limited in the National Guard versus active duty. And I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm sure there have been National Guard Command Sergeant Majors, but it is a hard feat to do
Yeah,
that.
but I think ultimately what it come down to is he retired a master sergeant.
He did. They bumped him down to the lowest rank that he had, or the previous rank he held, and then that's where he retired as. No one is, but I'm going to go just like Jason said. No one's discrediting his 24 years. Good job, Tim. You fucking did 24 years. You were a weekend warrior for 24 fucking years, and you occasionally went to fucking Italy. But then when the going got tough, and your fucking unit was getting orders to go to Iraq, you said, "I'm getting out of the military. I'm done. I'm going to run for political office." You were a pussy. You fucking ducked out. Your unit, your battalion, wherever the fuck they went to fucking Iraq. Many of them died. Many of them got dismembered, and you got to fucking run away. No wonder he's a fucking socialist. He's a fucking pussy, and he deserves to be fucking punched in the nuts. If he's even got a pair.
I'd like to go back on my previous statement that Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major, and Command Sergeant Major, they're not E10s, they are E9s. There's no E10. But just so somebody out there doesn't get butt hurt, there's no E10 in the Army. Unless you're me, of course. My name's Tim Walls.
Yeah. Unless he wants to fucking make up his own fucking, E10 shit.
He was a E12.
I'm done now, boys. Thank you.
He was a E12. So is that enough? Is that enough politics?
Yeah, I'm fucking done. I get ground up like fucking roast beef and shit when people start saying they did shit in the military. It doesn't matter if you fucking carried a gun, if you were in a gunfight. Be blessed you were never in a gunfight. Because if you were ever in a gunfight, you probably weren't making it out.
I will say this about my tour in Iraq. I took a gun with me in a case, a brand new M4, and it stayed in the case the whole time at the fucking armory, and I never opened it.
Really?
Once.
We had to.
Never.
I carried one every day of every minute. It went to my room with me. It went to shift with me. It didn't matter. It was with me nonstop.
Yep. I saw it when I dropped it off and then right before I had it shipped back to Aviano.
Fuck no. When we landed in Iraq, it was fucking torrential rainfall. It must have been the one typhoon season they get a year, and we were carrying our freaking cases of weapons and shit through the mud and everything to our fucking cans. So
it was so funny, as a matter of fact, that it was still wrapped in the original plastic that it came in, right? And then when it got shipped back to Italy, like I said, never opened that case the entire time. I had the only keys to the locks. And they're like, you got to clean this gun. I'm like, why?
it might have sand on it.
No, so here's what I did. I wiped all the excess oil off of it, took it apart, put it back together. The guy inspected it. He goes, all right, you're good to go.
Yeah.
That's it.
But that's one of those, that's like one of those instances I'm telling you, Jason, like, if you never had to, awesome, But in fucking Al-Assad, it was the fucking Wild West in 2007. You know what I mean?
Shit, we were in Mortarita's, man. We were getting attacked every day, but we sent our fighters out to do all the shit for us.
Did you guys?
They were dropping fucking warheads on foreheads.
Did you guys happen to see that the terrorist had a parade on the airfield that we left?
Yeah, with all of our fucking vehicles and shit.
Yeah. So there was UH-60s, Chinooks, a bunch of all the shit that we destroyed, they just put Afghan and Iraqi shit inside of it to make it work, and now it works because we should have incinerated them. Like we should have threw some fucking.
Why did we not just throw some thermal grenades in there? You can walk off.
I'm sure some of those things are like Jimmy rigged to hell and back to make sure that they're functional. Especially like on the helicopters and shit, like they destroyed the avionics packages on those things.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, all you need is it's still an engine. All you need is spark.
Those fucking
those
Haji motherfuckers. Yeah, those Haji motherfuckers can build a bomb and fucking wire it to some random fucking cell phone. They can put together fucking avionics equipment if they really need to.
Yeah, but they don't even need it.
That's true too.
All I gotta do is get the motor to run, and as long as they know they're in the air, what do they care what their altitude is, and if they're going north, south, east, or west. They know the country they're in. They know where they're going.
That's very true.
And all they did was put a lawn chair in there, and fucking they're flying around sitting on a lawn chair.
Realistically, all we would have had to do is take one of the 4 propellers off the UH-60s, and they would have never been able to fly it. But instead, we leave it fully intact, take a radio out and the altimeter out, and say, "Yep, it's destroyed." Like we should have incinerated. We should have took incendiary grenades to all that shit and just burned it.
Yeah, but they didn't have time to do that shit. It was like get rid of all the top secret shit.
I know, but had we done it the right way, bonus.
My favorite part about that whole evacuation is all them dumbasses like riding on the outside of the C-17s, and like they're gonna get a free ride.
Let me know how it works out at 30,000 feet, boys.
Let me know what happens as soon as those landing gear doors close and you're sliding off the fucking aircraft.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh
shit! Right. I'm sure as soon as he went to max power and started fucking going down the runway, those people fell off.
That'd be some rough road rash.
Oh.
Because I'm sure that airstrip wasn't.
Well, not just that, because as soon as you hit the ground, you're probably going to be in line with one of the engines, and then you're just going to get thrown the hell and back.
Yeah. At least you won't feel anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason why I would like to visit my mother, she is a big Kamala Harris fan. I fucking can't stand it, and she said it's about time women got a chance.
See, that's where I think that's a bad way of thinking.
It is. If you vote on identity, don't fucking vote because you're not a fucking patriot.
Yeah. So like I think, and there's a lot of people out there saying that they're voting for her strictly because she's a woman and a woman of color, and irregardless if she is a woman of color or not, I'm not gonna go into the heritage outlook, but just because she's a woman does not make her qualified for the job.
Exactly.
She's done nothing as the vice president.
Exactly.
I actually like Nikki Haley a lot. I kind of wish she would have gotten that nod.
I like Tulsi Gabbard, even though she's a former Democrat. Now bounced over to the light side, but absolutely,
it's still like messed up. Like Trump says one thing, Harris says the same exact thing,
and gets applause.
And they spin it into her favor. So, like, as much as I dislike
the tax thing, that's the big one that I've seen.
Yeah,
the tax thing.
Yeah, that's the big one that I've seen too. Yeah, and I'm like, because like when Trump said it, like the media saying the government's going to lose out on like $250 million annually or something like that. And then when Kamala Harris says it, they're like, oh yeah, this is a brilliant idea. And it's like, you can't have it both ways. And either way, both are full of shit. They can't change tax law.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
That has to go through fucking Congress.
I understand that, but doesn't Kamala Harris want to tax or increase taxes for people that make over 100,000 instead of 400,000? Isn't it 100,000? She wants to increase taxes like 40 to 50%.
Fuck, I'm fucked.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna have to start
filing
joint.
If you want to start that, like,
or whatever, married separately. That's what I'll have to start filing. But Lauren will get fucked still.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's per person. So, Krista would be safe because dental assistants, right? But, goddamn, for the work they do, they get paid shit. I'll tell you that, right? Anyway, like, I'm like, fuck, man. I'm gonna be looking at my pay stub, going, when did the government work half my shift?
I look at my paycheck now and think, where did the government work 30% of my shift?
That's true too.
Because
all the pay for fucking also they can pay for free Medicare and everything else for the fucking illegals. Oh, and she's a fan.
Oh,
She's a fan of free market. By the way, just to let you know, she announced it today.
well, that's my thing too. Like, you got all these illegals crossing the border, right?
Yep.
And they're committing crimes.
Yep.
The Bill of Rights, the U.S. Constitution, everything that, fair trial with the jury or peers, that's an American. If you're an American, you're entitled to all those things.
Yep.
So if you're an illegal alien and you commit a crime in this country, how you should just have you're guaranteed a trial. That's it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a chance to appeal. You're not going to get a chance because those are American rights. Just because you're in this country doesn't mean you're entitled to those things. You have to be an American citizen to get those.
And that's where I think people are getting fucking confused, unfortunately. Because they're like, well, they're already here. So if they work their way to citizenship, they'll be an American eventually. You know what I mean? But they never do. They fucking stay illegal.
Yeah.
They fucking...
Well, that's what I'm saying. That one guy who killed, it was a college girl in Florida or whatever, I think a while back.
The nursing student.
Yeah. Okay, you committed a crime. We found you guilty. Guess what? You're going to the chair.
Yep.
There's no, you get put to the front of the fucking line. Because all those appeals and shit that American citizens are entitled to, why should you get those?
Yep.
You don't, because you're not an American citizen. So that's what I don't understand. How come they are entitled to the same benefits of an American?
Did Jay freeze? Oh.
Yeah. You froze.
No,
you're back. You froze. You went away, and then you came back.
Yeah, it shut off real quick and then came back on. Anyway, that's what I think. So if I was running for political office, that's kind of what I would say too. Is like, if you're here illegally, you're not entitled to any of those things. And like Tim Walz, he just signed that bill in Michigan or Minnesota. All illegals can get a driver's license. Now, if you have a driver's license, you can register to vote.
Well, that's what they want.
No, I know that, but I'm saying it is there should be a distinction on their license that says you're undocumented.
Yep. But then they can't do that because then that opens them up to ICE.
Well,
so,
who cares?
Also,
who cares?
If they have if they have a driver's license, they're no longer undocumented. There is a track record for them, so there's a paper trail that leads.
But
back.
that's different.
How about this?
Undocumented? Undocumented
I
just means like through immigration.
Yeah, no, I agree. But
how about this? Instead of saying undocumented, just not a citizen.
Yeah, and then if that opens them up to ICE, who gives a shit?
Have a code that says NC, not citizen.
Well, I don't think ICE.
It would just make it. It would just make it a lot easier for them to be tracked.
Yeah.
Oh, we have your address. If we want to come get you, we can.
So ICE will not come unless you have a bus full of undocumented immigrants here in PA.
Yeah.
So
if
you get 5 or 6 on a traffic stop and you call ICE, they laugh at you and say, "Let them go."
But if you how many of those motherfuckers are actually going to go get a license? Because they're not, because they're going to be scared that as soon as they go in there, they're going to be fucking hemmed up.
Yeah, they're in the system. They're going to be found.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you really think Tim Walz and Kamala Harris really stand a chance? And I know people get upset because their name is Kamala. Is it Kamala or Kamala?
Kamala? I think it's
like pecan and pecan.
Apparently, it's racist if you say it wrong. Just saying. Yeah, there you go. Do you think Tampon Tim and Camel Toe really have a chance to win?
Yes,
I think they have a great chance.
They are not in, but when it comes to electoral votes, they can have all the popular vote they want. It doesn't win elections.
It did win the election.
It
It won Biden the election.
hold on. That was like the one time they actually lined up, but usually it's not the popular vote that instantly wins.
Yeah,
the
usually
election.
it's a few million off.
I
Right.
think Trump has a good chance to win, but I think because of the fact that a lot of women, especially like those transgender women and like trans people, are going to vote
Identity based.
blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people, oh, yeah, it's a woman. I'm voting for a woman. Like you said.
So me and Nick were talking after you had got off last week. I think that the women thing, voting for women just because she's a woman, and I also feel that Trump needs to keep his mouth shut. If Trump sticks to policy instead of banter,
Yeah.
he will stand a better chance. If he, because we were talking about the debate, the Biden debate, and if Trump would have just, and that, like, it was just like two 5-year-olds arguing with each other. It was there was nothing, no questions were answered. It was just every time Trump was asked a question, he would respond with what Joe Biden has not done to fix that problem, not what he will do to fix it or anything like that. And then the same with Joe Biden. It was just a 1 hour shit talking session, and it's annoying.
Yep.
And listen, I'm not saying Trump is a great person or a great president, but he is better qualified than Kamala Harris and Joe Biden both. And
The thing is, like, she
Well,
has not come out with any policies except for like maybe dribbles, right?
and the
The
one
the
and the
Trump
one
economy.
just can't.
and the one she stole from Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
The economy thing. Oh my God! If she wins and actually gets that through, actually she doesn't have to pass it through anything. If she enacts that, that's
You
just
can't.
that's the step to socialism right there because it's not going to help the poor. It's not going to help the middle class. It's going to create bread lines where they are actually in line for food just so they can feed their kids.
So I don't know how I feel about like the difference between capitalism and socialism. I don't know how it goes, but like I'm definitely not for take from the rich, give to the poor. But at the same time, like how nice would it be if the rich were taxed a substantial more than we were? They have more to give. But at the same time, if I was rich and I worked really hard to get where I am,
Exactly.
so like I don't know how I feel about it, and I don't know where I stand in the middle of all of it because if, like I said, if I worked or even if my family worked its entire life and I had inherited a lump sum of money, which is nowhere near the case, but if that was the case, then I wouldn't want that taken away from me either. So I think I see both sides. I just don't know where I land in that.
Well, I have it pulled up right here because I looked it up based on her latest economic push, right? And Jason, we're still talking about politics. I apologize.
That's all
So
right.
she
It's hot
believes
topic. Because I
she
got something
believes
to add.
in free market. So free market is here's the economic systems broken down. Capitalism is an economic system based on private ownership of the means of production and their operation for profit. So that's pretty much saying uh, you can make all the money you want. It is your money. It is your wealth. Do with it what you want to. Right? You want to donate to charity, whatever. All right. Uh, Free market, which is what she believes in. Um, there's many forms of free market. The one that she believes in is called. I gotta scroll to the top. Is an economic system in which prices of goods and services are determined by supply and demand, expressed by sellers and buyers. And the government takes a laissez-faire approach to it and is a hands-off. So pretty much it's going to be
The
uh
states.
yeah, or not even states. It's just whatever the companies want to charge you for, that's it.
That's kind of how it's already done, if you think about it. When there's a shortage of lettuce, the price of lettuce goes up. When
Yep.
that just happened last year. Remember, there was
Oh,
a few other times where there was a chicken wing shortage, where the price of chicken wings skyrocketed because there was a shortage. But the only problem with the way it is now is people realize, and the housing market's the same, cars are the same. When prices go up and the government realizes people are still buying houses, buying cars, and buying groceries, why would we lower the fucking price if people are going to still pay for the skyrocketed price? It's I don't know. I just price of
well,
lumber hasn't gone down at all.
well, it's no, it hasn't. But for the consumer, it sucks because you look at like cereal.
$8 a box.
Well, but the packaging has also gotten smaller, so you're actually getting less money
Right.
for or less product for the same amount of money.
That's what they call price gouging, right? Where you
Yeah.
charge the same amount but you give less.
Yeah, and you look at the box. The box used to be like,
Mm-hmm.
2 inches thick.
now it's like,
Yeah.
I love cereal
it's
too.
like,
It sucks.
I love
Ooh,
cereal
I just
too.
had some Captain Crunch berry things, and it has some marshmallows in it. Like
Was it
Ooh,
Captain Crunch?
that's the best.
Was it Captain Crunch berries or Oops All Berries?
it was the Captain Crunch berries, right? So the
With
crunch still had the
marshmallows.
berries, but it had the marshmallows.
Oh, yeah, that's not a.
We buy the multi-meal version of that in a bag.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, yep.
Fucking delicious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the best.
Put my nuts in it.
But the thing I hate about Captain Crunch is it just shreds your mouth.
Yep.
I don't.
The roof of your
Yeah,
mouth
but
is gone.
Oh,
it's
fuck.
like 15 minutes of pain for that overwhelming just sense of, oh yeah, this takes me back. Like
Yep.
putting
Oh,
2
we're
fingers
taking it
deep,
back.
2 fingers deep, and you're going, oh yeah, better try 3.
I'll
So,
still take my brick of shredded wheat.
so that's another thing too,
Full circle.
in regards to Trump. And I don't want to say I'm voting for Trump. That's no secret. But in his last few campaign uh, stops, he has had a table of products sitting by him, and he leaves these products out on the table for his entire thing, and he goes, this is all the stuff, and he does a 30-second rant on how much the products on those tables are, but never once does he go into how he's going to fix to
How he's
make
gonna
that
fix it?
product cheap.
But he already said how he's going to do that.
Yeah,
Drill, baby,
he did.
drill.
Yeah,
So he because in theory is like what he did last time. You increase oil production within the United States. It lowers transportation costs. Transportation costs have a direct reflection on what it costs for you at the grocery store. Because if it costs less to ship it, it costs less at the grocery store. That's Trump's policy on that, and that's to an extent I see that as a huge part of it. But you're right, there needs to be something else, and I'm sure there's a whole financial thing that he has built in his system to kind of reflect that. But I mean, they say like today's story was a lot of veterans are pissed off because he said the civilian Medal of Freedom is better than the Congressional Medal of Honor. And I think they kind of took it out of context because if you actually listen to his speech, Trump said it's better in the fact that he actually gets to present it
yeah.
to the person that it was intended to,
The Medal of Honor
rather
usually
than
can't.
in the Medal of Honor you can't. So he probably could have worded it a little better, but if you actually listen to what he said, you kind of understand where he's coming from. And nothing to take away from Congressional Medal of Honor winners, but for
But
you to
did
get that,
but
you
did
have
you
to
die?
be for you to get that, you have to be in the most fucked up situation and survive. And how many occasions in a wartime situation has that ever happened?
Yeah, it's fair.
It's
I
pretty
want
rare.
to.
So
I'm gonna Google it right now. I'll tell you how many living.
so
I think the last one before this. I mean, I'm sure there was many, right? But the one I remember is that
that one
uh,
thing in
it was,
Afghanistan had like three, right? That
yeah,
one.
but he was a contractor, that trucker guy, remember, and he was kidnapped, and then like he was a big dude, Remember?
No, I'm talking about like Congressional Medal of Honor winners.
Oh,
Like I think that one skirmish at a fob in Afghanistan, like 3 or 4 guys got it who lived. One of them was a captain, like a couple sergeants, a private, whatever. But he's right. You know, it is good to present a medal to somebody who is there to receive it for the highest honor.
yeah.
And in most cases, people who died
So
protecting their country
throughout
aren't.
throughout our country's history, there has been 3,536 Medal of Honor recipients, 60 of which were living when they
Yeah.
received it.
So, like, and for those who get the highest civilian honor, the Congressional Medal of Freedom or whatever it is,
Yeah.
is like everybody is alive to receive it. So, like, and that's the problem with like I think media having a big influence. I wish the media would just go back to presenting like Fox News should not be
The fucking
right.
news. Just talk about the fucking
CNN
news. Yeah.
CNN should not be left. It should be this is the news. These are the facts. You decide for yourself.
Yep.
And that's the shitty thing is most, and I'm going to say this, most voters are fucking lazy and don't want to go out and do the information, do the research and get the information to make an educated guess.
Like my
I just
fucking
want to
mother.
listen to.
I was talking to her. She was like, "They're trying to take women's votes away." I said, "Mom, I'm not fucking doing this right now."
But did you ever see those videos? And it says,
Like, where you get your fucking news from?
They ask these feminists, you know, what rights do you have now that are different from men? And not a damn one of them can say anything.
It's the same for fucking transgenders. People are like, Florida's horrible for transgender rights. No, it's not. They have rules because they're getting tired of it being shoved down people's throats. If you were to keep it to yourself and keep drag queens out of fucking kindergarten classrooms and everything else, no one would fucking have a problem.
I think it was New Hampshire or something like that. They're getting sued by some transgender female students because they're not allowing them to, like the state said, if you're a trans person, you cannot compete in like
women's sports.
A trans female cannot compete, which a biological male cannot compete in a women's sport. I agree with it. It's just a look at that. I know that boxing
The
lady.
boxer, yeah.
Well, she is technically a female. She was born a female.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's just roided out, to be honest with you. But
no, I thought it said she was born a man.
no,
and
they
she's always associated herself with women's sports.
So apparently, she's been taking testosterone supplements and stuff to become a male, which those testosterone supplements give you
an advantage,
an athletic advantage in that sport of boxing. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean,
that poor Italian lady, man. She one punch and he broke her nose, or she broke her nose.
She said it was the hardest she's ever been hit in her entire life.
I know. I can't even imagine.
I didn't see the fight at all. I didn't.
Oh, it was a quick jab, but it was a hard punch. You could tell. She went to the corner and she's like, "Fuck it, no, I'm done." I can't say I blame her. That's like stepping in the ring with Iron Mike.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, there was a serious size advantage too, which I don't know how I don't know how it works in the Olympics, but I feel as if the weight was not.
Just even if you are a trans, just like the mechanics alone, like a male has more muscle. Even if you are taking supplements, men by statute have more muscle mass. It's just ingrained into our DNA. We're supposed to be the workers, right? So there's a clear disadvantage. And like those poor girls in the NCAA, I think it was swimming, who lost to that.
Leah Thompson or whatever her name is.
I don't know, but Like, no way in hell that should ever happen. Especially the NCAA should not allow that.
Mm-mm.
Schools below, like high school, middle school, they definitely should not allow it.
Have a trans Olympics.
Yeah. Fuck, they
And you
want,
just can.
they already have 3 months fucking out of the year for fucking celebration and recognition and shit like that. Give them one of those months to do a fucking trans Olympic.
Couldn't they just classify that for them to be in the Paralympics?
No,
It is
because
a
that would still be
disability.
unfair. But it'd still be unfair.
Oh,
Well,
I know.
they probably do have. I mean, are we counting mental disability? Because I'm sure that's on the fucking radar.
I don't know. Getting back.
Speaking of mental, have you seen the show Legion?
Legion?
No.
Legion. It's on FX.
No.
It has to do with like X-Men and mutants and shit like that. But like,
Oh,
I'm on the first season. It is totally fucking weird. Like psychology and it might like I am so fucking lost. It's ridiculous.
Getting back to the Medal of Honor? There's one female Medal of Honor recipient, one and one only. It's Mary Edwards Walker from the Civil War. It was rescinded from her in 1916, but given back to her in 1977 because she was a civilian at the time. She was awarded the Medal of Honor, and yeah, it was
For
restored in.
nursing.
Yeah, it was restored in. No, she was a surgeon.
Same thing, medical.
I mean, I feel like there's a big difference between a nurse and a surgeon.
Not during the Civil War, because
Oh
I'm
no,
sure.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like during that time, if you had any kind of medical background, they're like,
Yeah.
"Fucking, we'll take it."
can you hack a leg? You're in.
Yeah. That's where that bite the bullet shit comes from. Did you know that?
Yeah. They put a bullet in their mouth to bite on when they were amputating their
Yeah.
limbs.
That comes across my TikTok thing every now and then, like phrases we still use today and where they came from. Fuck that. You imagine that? You're wide awake, conscious, and and you pass out from the pain.
I think I would almost be like, go find the biggest, baddest motherfucker out there and have him just fucking cold cock me.
I think I would just. I
I
don't
cannot
know.
believe back then they didn't have some sort of like gas that they could put over and just kind of put you to sleep a little bit.
No, because like, let me see. Let me Google that.
Or did they not do it because it relaxes the vessels too much and then you would lose way too
No.
much blood?
Chloroform.
I figured out that's the only way I can get my wife to move to Texas, Jason, is by chloroform.
Yeah.
Is that legal, Kyle? Just joking, everybody. Don't fucking take it for real.
So,
goddamn, I'm canceled.
Chloroform was used in the 1800s.
That's what I'm saying.
But it was.
Are you looking at the PBS article?
Yeah.
It's crazy how
introduced
far
in
away.
1847. It says it was extensively used in the Civil War. So
there's a lot of movies that deflect that they did not use it at all.
They did not.
It says they used it, but maybe it wasn't readily available in some of those units. But as you figure, like a lot of those battles just kind of popped up because we're marching, they're marching. Yeah. Oh shit, we ran into each other.
That's true. And maybe they didn't want them sitting around in crates because of a fucking cannonball hit it and it shatters. All of a sudden it puts off a gaseous fume and everything, a big cloud, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, those fuckers are just like
they just both sides wake up because they passed out. Like, hey, you want to take a rain check on this shit?
Hey, Irene. Why am I peeing like I was up all night having sex? And why does my ass hurt?
Yeah. So I would venture to, and I think that probably has something to do with it. I feel like chloroform was probably used in a lot of military hospitals and field hospitals back in the day, but I feel like those people that had bad enough injuries that where they needed an amputation, a lot of times that was done, 100 yards back of the fight, not in a military hospital, just under a tent somewhere, and they.
And it was done like on the spot, like get that guy to the fucking tent now.
Because I feel like tourniquets probably weren't very effective back then. It was probably
if they used them at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they use squirrels.
I would love to know two
That's a
sides.
pine cone.
I'd love to know two sides of things. I'd love to know how many people back then would have lived if they had the medical technology they did today. And I also want to know how many people would have died if they had the military technology that we have today.
Well, here's my question. And I talk about this when it comes to like the Civil War shit all the time. Like, more people died of dysentery during the Civil War than actual bullet wounds. So, whoever did not know that drinking contaminated water, the camp is right here, and Jimbo's up the stream pissing and shitting in the water, and you're like, this tastes kind of funny. Hey, you mind pissing downstream?
Or hey, why don't you go on the Confederate side?
Fuck. A lot of these shows that you watch too, a lot of them drank coffee. So they had to boil water. So like, how can so many people die of dysentery if they're fucking boiling water?
You obviously never played Oregon Trail as a child. Anyway,
Yeah.
I once lost the whole family.
Yeah, the dysentery.
To dysentery, and Anna got eaten by a bear.
Could you?
Yeah, usually mine drowned in the river.
So every time I talk about the Civil War, this pops into my head. Could you imagine if one person
with a M4?
Yeah, I was even thinking an M2, a 50 cal machine gun.
Right.
Just sitting up on top of a hill with the general, and just one person could have changed. One person and one gun could have changed the whole outcome of that.
Well, you look at when the Gatling gun came out. Like it came out in like the 1870s, I think.
Shortly thereafter the Civil War.
So you imagine had that gun been invented.
Yeah.
Or hell, even the Winchester rifle, had that been invented, like, or the cartridge bullet that we use today, had that been invented like 10 years earlier.
It was
4570 was around back then.
So it wasn't the 4570. It was a
but it was a round that was in that time frame.
I'm gonna Google it real quick.
Yeah, no, my buddy Ackerman, he has a Civil War era lever action rifle that he just got.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's very impressive.
I like how you say lever.
Well, I feel like it is a lever. I feel like lever.
It's not a lever.
No, I don't think so. I feel like
it's a lever.
Yeah.
Hey boy, hand me my lever action.
I don't
now
know.
Say, hey boy, hand me my lever action.
It was actually invented in 1808, but did not start getting use until 1864, with the introduction of the Sharps rifle, and in 1870 the widespread issuing of the Smith & Wesson revolver for cavalry troops. So you could say like it was probably near the end of the Civil War, but like even like 3 years had that lever action rifle been a dominant thing. Like, you imagine even the difference if infantrymen during World War II were issued Tommy guns rather than like those M4 carbines.
Right.
Or like a machine gun like they were used to rather than a semi-automatic boom, boom, 5-shot bling. I need a carabiner.
Well, you could go back in every single war and say that, because imagine if they had the Garand in World War I rather than a bolt action rifle.
Yeah.
Or
M1.
Or the American Indian War. Oh no, I guess you couldn't.
They had revolvers.
Yeah.
And the lever action.
Yeah.
For the American Indians. but still, it's just one of those things. Yeah, me and Dad used to talk about that shit in the truck all the time. We driving past Gettysburg and be like, you imagine what, one company full of M16s would do to, they're just sitting up there, just because it was that gentlemanly war where they're just fucking standing in a line fighting each other like a bunch of fucking morons.
I mean, if you really think about it, the first Desert Storm, I mean, that's kind of where it was. I mean, they weren't necessarily fighting muskets with M16s, but they were fighting guys who were holding bolt action rifles.
Yeah,
And
well, I
they were
mean,
fighting with M16s,
War,
so
right? Yeah.
yeah, and I'm sure that it was probably the same in Vietnam.
yeah.
Even though they had like AKs, a lot of people had AKs and stuff like that. But I'm sure a lot of those guys had fucking leftover shit from like World War II.
hmm
So, but yeah, just or even like one finally placed like today's sniper somewhere. You take Lee out.
The war was over.
Yeah,
Yeah, imagine Chris Kyle in the battlefield of
What a national
Charlottesville.
treasure.
Well, here's what I don't get. They were the brilliant minds coming out of West Point, right?
Right.
The American Revolution, or like the army, like the farmers and shit. They didn't beat the British Army by standing in line, fucking, just standing there taking bullets back and forth. It was that shit, picking them off one at a time, walking through the woods on their home turf,
Yeah.
where we know the fucking. It's the same deal. As a Civil War general, I'd have been like, we're just gonna sit here and hide. When they come along, we'll get them in a crossfire. We'll fuck them up.
Hayden asked me a random question yesterday.
You gotta
What?
move closer to your mic.
Oh, it's like Hayden asked me a random question the other day driving home to get food yesterday. He was like, "Dad, I've always wondered, like, we fought the British in the Revolutionary War because that's what he's getting ready to learn in school, right? So he's like thinking about all this.
Up until the
How
War
is
of
it?
1812.
How is it that they're one of our biggest allies or friends?" I was like, "Well, let me put it this way. This is your dad's opinion, but so
World War II.
Britain wanted to have the New World. They wanted to control it and have everything else, right? They pretty much got their asses kicked by a bunch of farmers and a bunch of British soldiers and officers that didn't want to fight for them anymore and decided to create an American military and create a new country." I was like, but in long story short, it was a bunch of farmers that beat the fucking British ass. I was like, and if they did it with very little weapons and technology back then, as much as the British probably had, imagine what we could do as we advance through time and technology. I was like, so therefore, it's the same thing with Japan. They made a big fuck up. One guy got a little rambunctious and decided to bring America into a fucking war, and then we decided to drop two bombs on him. One of them wasn't even supposed to hit. What was it, Nagasaki or something, Kyle?
hmm
Was it Nagasaki the accident? It's supposed to hit somewhere else.
Yeah, so no, Nagasaki was the
Here-
accident. It was supposed to be on the capital
Yeah.
of Japan. It was supposed to be on
Exactly.
Yeah.
I said, and we
Tokyo.
got coordinates wrong, and it dropped on Nagasaki.
No, it
No,
was just bad weather.
Yeah,
Oh, it's just bad weather.
cloud
Okay,
cover.
so either way, and Japan was like, okay, we're sorry.
Well,
It's
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 a lot more than that.
I
but,
feel like
I know that.
it's either that or you either get your ass spanked hard enough that you just start listening.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
truly,
Well, because even when America won the American Revolution, war with Britain wasn't over until after the War of 1812.
I get it, but my point to him was just put it in simple man's terms, right? I mean, a bunch of farmers playing
Yeah,
guerrilla
but
warfare.
we did not really become allies with Britain until World War II.
That's, I mean, yes,
Probably World War One, really.
it was one.
Yeah. Even more so after or during World War II, because they were the only power in Europe to survive Hitler's fucking push, and the only reason that is because they were so far isolated
So if you go back,
And because of the Spitfire.
if you go back in history and you look, every great empire that has ever existed, every single one of them,
Balls.
falls around 200 to 250 years. America is getting to that point. And if you look, I mean, around us, we're getting pretty. We're coming close. Where we're not going to be. I mean, if you ask me now, I wouldn't say we're the. I love living in America. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. But are we the greatest country in the world anymore? I feel like that's up for discussion and debate. I feel like
who would it be? Australia?
Not a bad place.
I
Switzerland.
mean, it's Saturday.
Switzerland's
Oh,
good.
no, that's shrimp on the barbie.
I mean, here's the deal. Everybody, and I told him this too. Every country has its faults. America's not perfect. I was telling him that, right? But look at England right now. They're looking to put people in jail if they mistweet something based on the terror attacks at the Taylor Swift shit and the dance school stabbings, and like they're like, if you tweet something and we don't agree with it, we'll put your ass in fucking jail. Like,
so the NFL just enacted a rule that if you kneel for the national anthem, you can be ejected from the game, and that is
good.
Good. But how do you say that? How do you say it's okay to do that in England with a tweet, but it's not okay to do that here with kneeling for the national anthem? And I get they're two different things. It's apples and oranges, but they're utilizing the same principle, that freedom of speech and the freedom of.
You stand for the national anthem because it pays homage and respect to those that have fought for this country.
Yeah, no, I
and
get
have
it.
given you the God-given right to be able to say whatever you want without repercussions.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I'm saying it comes within England itself, and I understand we have a constitution that says you have to respect our country, and maybe England doesn't. Right. But how is it okay? But they're, at the end of the day, if this was America and they were putting people in jail for tweets, it would be the same exact discussion. It would be they're utilizing their First Amendment right to their freedom of speech and their freedom of everything else, and that's why I don't think it's okay. Just so we're on the same page, I think kneeling for the national anthem is wrong, and you should be ejected. And I think if you're utilizing any type of social media platform to disgrace your country, it should be treated as treason.
It's a company stance, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to play football in the NFL, and the NFL says you will not do this, and you do it, guess what? Go play in the CFL.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Or go play in the XFL.
In the XFL, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know. I just think it's I think that's long overdue. I'll be honest with you.
Just like that Air Force kid that burned himself alive outside the fucking
Free Palestine,
Israeli.
Free Palestine.
Yeah. But I guarantee when push came to shove, his family didn't get shit for benefits because he pretty much committed suicide on fucking
yeah.
But in uniform.
Yeah. And that used to be a rule, right, Jay? I mean, back in the day,
it still is a rule.
You can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't do that shit. You can't protest or anything in uniform.
Right.
But if they do a line of duty, I guarantee he killed himself. He's not getting that $400,000 life insurance. I guarantee his family didn't get that. He probably got is a fucking free funeral. If that.
Yeah, if that. I was just gonna say.
I mean, chances are they just went over the broom and pick up all the ashes, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
just closed casket for sure.
I mean, it's definitely. Don't get me wrong.
Walk over the bag of mallows and a hot dog. Be like, what? Too soon?
Really, it is sad, but at the end of the day, in the world we live in, is that really where you want to fall? On the Free Palestine movement?
Is that the sword you want to die on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd much rather if I don't know.
But it was funny because on Twitter and all that shit, all these fucking pro Hamas or Palestine people are like, yeah, his voice will live on forever. I haven't heard that motherfucker mentioned anywhere.
Yeah. Funny, he doesn't talk much anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't. And his term of enlistment is over.
1 hour.
All right. We better get off so Nick doesn't get his dick smacked.
Guys, come on. I just want to greet my wife. She's been gone all weekend. All right. Come on, let me
It's a
be
weekend,
good person.
dude. It's a weekend. It's not like she was gone for fucking 3 weeks.
Oh, you haven't seen us in forever.
You haven't met Carissa, obviously, and I know you fucking have.
I have, yes.
I have not. And the way it sounds, I don't want to either.
Oh, come on. Don't do that.
Get my dick snapped because I kept you here too long.
Yeah. All right. We'll end it there.
To
We
be
don't want to get
continued.
to be continued.
continued.
Yeah, we'll find out how Nick's family reunion went after a whole weekend.
Okay, motherfuckers. Okay, she had a long exhausting. She was dropping Kinsey off. It's like the fucking shining walls. I've already told you that. Okay, we're not going to get into detail. It's like the walls that are shining. She gets very emotional. I'm pretty sure she's going through premenopause. I just want to be there, all right, and just be like, hey, how's your weekend? In 5 minutes, we're going to be annoyed with each other, and I'll be like, I fucking want to just go to the office, play Xbox, and life will be back to normal. All right, just let me have 5 minutes of being a good person.
Did you cook her dinner?
No, I told her to get something on the fucking road.
That's why he needs 5 minutes with her. That's 5 minutes of, I'm so sorry I didn't have something prepared, but the guys really needed to record this week. It's going to be our fault.
Yeah.
No. Because traffic was, with traffic, it was saying like 5.5 hour drive, and then she had to stop for gas and everything else to make that 6 hours. Okay, it literally almost took her 6 hours to get home.
Is she home
in
now?
one state?
Pretty fucking rough. That's my Bob De Niro face.
I feel like Texas is twice that.
It is fucking brutal going across Texas.
Pennsylvania sucks too. Route 80 just sucks.
I know. It's from
That's what we're going to. That's what we're talking about.
Texarkana to El Paso is 979 miles.
I was going to say the most boring highway drive. Let's put this out there for America.
We went to South Padre, which is down there by Brownsville. It was a 10-hour and 15-minute drive from here. It's the same distance from here to Brownsville as it is from here to El Paso.
And that's why Texas will never fall. Because it's too vast.
Too vast. And there's a shit ton of people with guns.
That's right.
Yep. Hey, man, gotta love a red state.
Viva la Mexico!
I live in a swing state.
Yeah.
Sex swing?
It could go any direction. Depends on how depends on how the whole state's red except for Philadelphia County and Pittsburgh, and maybe Lackawanna County.
Harrisburg.
No, Harrisburg's been red the last few elections.
Hey, I saw a mail truck driving through the cemetery the other day. I guess they're dropping off ballots.
It was in Colorado. Didn't that dude just get arrested or like kicked off for like making fraudulent shit there in Colorado?
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google that and send it to you later.
I've been playing Call of Duty pretty much all weekend, dude.
Yeah. Eating Totino's pizza rolls.
Does your tummy feel better?
It does. Okay, are we still recording?
Yeah.
Yeah. Buckets of semen.
I got. Stop it. I had the brain to protein back somehow. So anyway, it was just stomach bug. Is either Legionnaires, Listeria, dysentery, stomach flu.
You're not supposed to drink the toilet water.
Shit. That's what I did. I was scooping it out of the tank. Yeah.
Brushing his teeth.
Yeah.
Not with the back of the tank. You ever see Zach and Miri make a porno? He shut the water off and she says, "Here, rinse my hair out. Use the water from the toilet." And he opens up the toilet and goes, there's a poo in there. And she's like, fart the tank. It's the tank water.
Anyway, yeah, I got to feeling better like last Thursday, about midway through the day.
So one day.
I was
no 3
asshole.
days.
It was Monday afternoon. Monday started at noon, roughly, all the way through Tuesday or Thursday. What, 11 o'clock ish, probably.
You probably had
And then
COVID. You probably had COVID. The new strain of COVID's going around. That's what happens. My mother-in-law and father-in-law just had it.
COVID doesn't fucking exist anymore.
COVID.
And then he farted, and
I'm
his ass
joking,
cheeks
Kyle.
stuck together.
Dude, no. That was 3 days of not trusting a fart. I'll tell you that right
Yeah.
now.
I'll give you $1 if you super glue your ass cheeks together and try taking a shit. Could you imagine it was just squirting out the top up your back?
Yep. You taking a chimney shit? That's what I call it. Like, you know, when you're sitting down in a chair and you fart and you feel that fart bubble just creep up your ass crack to the top. Yeah, I call it a chimney fart.
Just gives a little pop right at the top.
It came out the top of my shirt.
Yeah, my neck got a. I'm drying my hair.
What do you call it when it goes the other direction? It comes out and hits your ball sack.
Ball wash.
I guess you could call that a mind fart. Yep, mind fart and a chimney fart. All right. Well, we better letting it go.
Yep, let me go.
All right.
It's
all right. So for the Grog Bowl, I'm Jason.
I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Grog out. Grog out.